guys, it's Dawn Marie with Custom Comfy Crochet, and today we were going to learn how to do this really cool stitch. I call it the swirly stitch. It could have another name. I'm not the first person to come up with this stitch. I've seen it before. It's kind of like any of those stitches. Who knows who came up with it and when, but either way, I'd like to teach you how to do it today because it's really cool. But this is what the front looks like, and I'm going to try to get a little bit closer so you can see. It's just, that's why I call it swirl, because it just looks like a little swirl. And then this is the back, and the back has its own interesting look. I don't think it looks bad. I think it looks really cool, actually. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. You can use any size hook or yarn you wish to use, but I will let you know what I'm using. I'm using a 5mm hook. I'm using some white Mainstays yarn, and that's for the single crochets in the middle. Yeah, just white. And then I'm using for this colorful portion, actually I'm using color pulling yarn, which I've used in another video, and it's called papaya. So yeah, papaya pulling. So those are the two colors that I'm using today. If you want to use those, people always want to know what colors I'm using, but like I said, you can use whatever you want. But so what we're going to start off with first is the white. And did I say yet? I don't know. I'm using a 5mm hook. I think I did say it. Okay, so let's move this to the side. And what we're going to do is just do a swatch. By the way, this stitch could be used for a lot of different things. I've used them for flowers before, the middle of flowers. You could use it for anything. So let's start with a slip knot. Let me raise up my camera just a little bit. Oh, sorry, there's my finger. And sorry about my horrible nails. I had to take, one of my nails broke in the middle. I don't know if you can see that. And so I just took off all my nails. I've been wearing some acrylic nails for a long time, and I think they've just been kind of damaging my fingernails. So I'm just gonna keep them off for a while, but oh goodness, you sure do have to put up with it looking at them. Okay, so just for the swatch, we're gonna start off and chain 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, okay? And I'm just doing a short chain because, like I said, this is just a swatch just to show you how to do this. And then we're going to just do one more stitch, one more chain, I mean, so it'll really be 20. And then we can go back down and do single crochets all the way back down. So just go ahead and single crochet all the way down. And then I'll meet back up with you in just a minute when we get to the other side. Okay, so we've single crocheted our way right down the other side. And actually, instead of finishing off this last single crochet, I want you to just go through like you were gonna do a single crochet, but don't finish it. So, because we're gonna bring in our color. So we're gonna bring up our yarn. Those 2 loops we're gonna leave right there. And then I'm going to take my other color, which is this papaya color pulling. And I'm going to make a slip knot. Okay, and then I'm just gonna bring this in right here to finish that single crochet. And that way there will be no, you won't be able to see the color change, okay? So now that we did that, we added our color. I want you to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then I want you to turn your work, and then we're gonna start working these swirly stitches, okay? So we're not gonna work into this one because we've got our chain of 3. We're going to be working into this the second chain, okay? So not this one, but this one. And the first thing I want you to do, and I'm gonna do this several times, and I want you to know, first of all, that this takes a lot of practice, but it's really fun. And if you have been crocheting for a while, or either way, it doesn't matter. If you love a challenge, this is perfect, okay? So we're gonna start with wrapping around your hook 6 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And if you notice, every time I go around, I'm pushing my yarn back on my hook. Because if you leave it up close to the top, it's gonna get too tight, okay? So we've gone around 6 times, then we're gonna go through our stitch here. We're gonna pull up our yarn, and then we're going to go through this first loop just like this. And then I'm gonna pull back with my finger, go through the second loop, the third loop, the fourth loop, the fifth loop, and then I'm going to go through both loops on my hook, just like that. Then I'm going to single crochet to hold it into place, and then I'm going to tighten it up just a little bit, just like that, okay? So now we have our first swirly stitch and we have our chain of 3. So let's do that again, okay? So we're going to wrap around our hook 6 times. 1, just start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we're going to go into our next available stitch, making sure those are pulled down with your finger. Pull up your yarn, still holding those with your finger. And then you're going to start working through these loops. There's 1, pull back, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then through both 6. Then single crochet here up at the top. Pull tight a little bit, and now you've got your second swirly. Some of these may look a little different than the other. This one might be a little bit looser. It's all going to turn out good in the end, okay? So don't worry, it doesn't have to be total perfection. And then you'll get better as you go along, okay? But I want to show you again. I'm just going to keep showing you this so that you can get it, okay? I'm just going to keep going over and over again doing the same thing, because I think that would have helped me a lot when I was learning, okay? So we've got our loop on our hook. We're going to wrap around 6 times, pulling our yarn down this way. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm keeping a loose tension on my finger, my pointer finger there. Then I'm going through, picking up my yarn, pulling forward. Then I'm going to go through 1 stitch. I'm going to pull back, and then with my thumb, I'm holding this. I go through it again. So I'm really using this thumb here too to help me get into these stitches. Okay? And pull tight. Single crochet, and then pull tight in the back. Okay? So let's do that again. Got our loop on our hook. We're going to wrap around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we're going to go into our next stitch. And then we're going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then through these last 2. Now, this is where I've just made a mistake, and this happens to me sometimes when I'm doing this. And I was hoping that I would make some mistakes so that we could learn together. But this loop is way too loose, so that when I pull it through, it's gonna leave a really big top part. So we're gonna start this again, and I'm gonna try to make sure that I keep a tight tension on this while I'm pulling my loops down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? So I'm trying to keep that as tight as I can. It's not gonna be super tight. Then, holding my finger here on all of these, I'm gonna pull this up, and then I'm gonna go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then through these last 2. And that's exactly what I want it to look like. Then do our single crochet at the top, pull tight a little bit, not real tight, but just pull a little bit in the back to pull it down, okay? And that's what it should look like. It's gonna look a little wonky, but when we do the single crochets over the top, it's gonna pull it together again, okay? So let's do that again. Wrapping around our hook 6 times. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go into my next available stitch. Pull up my yarn. Go through 1, go through 2, go through 3, go through 4, go through 5, and then go through these last 2. Do a single crochet there at the top and then pull down. And see, that one's a little bit loose, but that's okay, as long as it's not crazy loose, because we're gonna be working through these for our single crochets. So that's what I was talking about just a minute ago. So it doesn't matter if these are pretty loose. Like, you saw what I did before, so you don't want them that loose, but if they're this loose, it's okay. And you'll see when we get to that why it is okay, okay? So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go into our next available stitch, pull up our yarn, go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the last 2 there on our hook. Do a single crochet, pull tight, a little tight in the back. And then you just keep doing that all the way down. Now, real quick, I want to show you what happens if you're doing it wrong. That way you'll know, like when you're trying this and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? So I'm going to show you some things that I did, okay? First of all, your natural reaction when you crochet is just to get it be loop around your hook. So your natural reaction is not going to be to pull down. So I'm already trying to do it because I've been working this so much, but you would just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? That's what you would do. They would gather up down at the bottom of the hook, and then you would try to go in. And see, you can't, because all of those are stuck there, okay? So, I mean, if I push them back, it'll eventually go through, but then it just feels a little bit too tight. So I want you to really try to keep those towards the back of your hook, okay? And I already did the thing that was too loose, so we saw that. So let's just do it again. So we're keeping this tension tight here. Go around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Go through our next stitch, pull up our yarn, go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then these last 2, okay? Pull a little tight there, do our single crochet, okay? Just like that. And then we're going to do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Go into our next available stitch, pull up our yarn, go through. Ah, it came off. And that'll happen right there too. So let me just start over again. It's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then through these last 2 loops, then do a single crochet at the top. Now, really using your thumb to guide you is very important for this working correctly for you. So let me show you real quick what would happen if you don't use your thumb, and then I'll do one more silently with you, and then I'm going to let you finish off. Okay, so let's again, we're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Go through our next stitch, pull up our yarn. Okay, so now I'm not going to use my thumb. I'm just going to go through that first one. And then I'm trying to think of how I could, okay, I'm trying to get through this other one. You can't do it. Maybe, I'm sure someone will figure out a way to do it after they watch my video, and then you'll tell me about it in the comments. But really, as you can see, you can't do it. So it's really using that thumb that's gonna make the difference. So again, let's just do this, and I'm just gonna quietly and slowly go through the motions, okay? Okay, so that's how you do that. And like I said, if you can see, it is gonna look wonky. It's gonna turn on you. Some of them might be flapping around here and there, but that's okay, because like I said, the single crochet round will fix that. So I want you to work your swirlies all the way down till right before your last stitch, and then we'll meet back up again. Okay guys, so how did you do? I hope you did great. I hope you didn't give up and say, oh, forget this, because this is so much fun, to me anyway. Maybe you do think it's horrible, but hopefully not. So we made it all the way down until we're right at our last single crochet there. And what you're gonna do is work a double crochet into that single crochet. And I want you to make sure you get through both loops, and I want you to kind of make it a loose double crochet. You want it to reach the height of your swirlies, okay? So, you know, that looks pretty good there. So just keep that nice and loose. But again, I forgot. We're not gonna finish that double crochet all the way, because we're gonna change back into our white. So I want you to just go halfway through the double crochet, keep the 2 loops on your hook, and then we're going to bring our white back in. And actually, it's still attached. So I'm just gonna cut off the white, leaving a piece to work in later. So this is a pattern that will leave some ends for you to work in, but it's so worth it because it's so pretty. Okay, so we're gonna make a slip knot. We're gonna bring in this other color. And because the nature of the pattern, or the stitch rather, it's really not, while it is beautiful, you can't really work your tails into the back like you would, you know, if you're working any other stitch, half double crochets, double crochets, but there are a lot of stitches that you can't do that with. So this just happens to be one of those. So now what we're gonna do, we've got that in, we finished that double crochet with our color change, we're going to chain 1. Then you're going to turn your work, and you've almost got a circle here, or a horseshoe. And then you're gonna go right into that first single chain of 3 that we did right into the top of that, and you're going to work a single crochet. So don't miss that right there, okay? And now what you're going to do is you're going to start working into these top loops here. So if I'm looking here, there's a spot here you could go into, but you're not. You're gonna go into the top of these, okay? So I'm gonna go right into the top under those 2 loops, right on the top of that swirly, okay? So I'm not gonna go into these in the middle, just right through the top of those. And this is what I was telling you was gonna bring it up and not make it look so loose, okay? So we're just, and you're not doing tight single crochets. Try to keep your tension really loose with these because you're going to be working your swirlies into them. You want to be able to find them easy. There's no reason to make them super tight, okay? But when you do that, do you see it pulls them up, all right? So we're just gonna go all the way down, not going into these middle here, but to the top of this, doing our single crochets, just like that. All the way down. And this is also going to keep it from turning. It's going to give it structure because the swirlies are so loose and tall that they really don't give a lot of structure. So these, you know, really give it that line that you want when you're crocheting. As you can see, do you see? It's just straightened it right up. Okay, so again, going through these top loops, the tops of our swirlies, and sometimes they can be kind of hard to find, like this one right here. So that right there is the top. So I'm gonna pull that up and go through that. And guys, if you're having trouble finding these top loops, just keep working with it till you find it. Like, you know, if you go through this, you know, it's too tight, so you know, that's not right. I'm not supposed to go through the middle there. So what does that leave? It leaves these 2 right here. So I'm gonna just make sure I go through both those 2, under both of those. And see here, that one had turned to the side. Okay, and now we're right here at the top of our chain of 3. Now, this is another thing. You might think that, my goodness, excuse me, you might think that you should work in right there, but actually the top of the chain of 3 is right here. 1, 2, and 3. So make sure you count that up and make sure you're getting in the right place. You go right into that, and you would go like you were doing a single crochet. But what you're gonna do is you're going to change your colors, okay? So I'm going to pull, and this is the same for every round, okay? So I just wanted to transition with you and show you. So I can cut off that color now from the other one. And now I'm gonna bring the color in here. So I'm going to do a slip knot, finish off the single crochet with that. Like this, okay, and then I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and like I said, just keep that kind of loose. Remember that you want it to, and you can pull on all of these to pull your stuff down because they will get a little bit loose, okay, but yeah, chain 3 and make sure it's pretty tall, you know, make it loose so that you know it'll fit. And so now what you would do is just like we did before, you're gonna start working your swirly stitch. So this chain of 3 counts right over this one, so we don't work into that one. We're going to be working into the next one, okay? And that's what it looks like. And that's what the back looks like. So let's just do one more together, okay? So We wrap around our hook 6 times. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go into our next stitch, pull up our yarn, go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the last 2 there. Then do a single crochet, pull on the back so it tightens it up, and there you go. You've got a swirly and your chain of 3. So you're just gonna keep repeating now. You're gonna go all the way down with your swirlies. When you get to the last stitch, you're going to do a double crochet, but don't end it. Don't do the full double crochet because you're gonna change into your white then. Then you're gonna go back with single crochets and so forth and so on. So this is a great little stitch. I hope you enjoy it. And if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to ask. If you want to show me that you got this all worked up and let me know that you met the challenge for the swirly stitch, please feel free to drop a picture on my Facebook or Instagram, Messenger, whatever, any way you want to get in touch with me. I'd love to see all your pictures. So yeah, please like, share, and subscribe. Please share my videos on any of your crochet pages. It helps so much when people do that, or share with your friends. And if you get a chance, watch an ad here or there because that helps to provide the materials that we need for this channel, okay? Also, don't forget to check out my community tab because I have a lot of good stuff on there, questions and all kinds of things, and you can drop ideas on there on my community tab or even in the comments of stuff that you would like to see on my channel, okay? So happy crocheting, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.